Let's roll. This is Countercharge, your podcast for ranks, flanks, and kings of war. Join your hosts as they delve into the world of Panithor and bring you worldwide coverage of all things Kings of War.
Welcome to Countercharge. I'm Rob Fnuff. In this episode, we will continue our coverage from the Michigan GT by sharing our Sunday conversation with Nate Johnson and Matthew Temple and our initial impressions after playing 4th edition for the first time. So pull up a comfy chair, sit back, and enjoy. All right, it's Sunday morning of the Michigan GT. We've had an excellent, I don't know what we want to call it, 4th edition preview, Mantic Open Night. There's a lot of shenanigans going on, and we will talk about the shenanigans later, but there was a giant box of various sprues and bits and blister packs that they just sort of dumped on the floor, and it was like one of those scenes from those fantasy movies where he wants to make a scene where he's getting, like, the crook is getting away. Yeah. He just throws a bunch of money up in the air. That's what I felt like.
I mean, like my daughters on Halloween, just dump the candy and start going. It's, except there were, 40 of us.
Oh, yeah. We definitely felt like kids in a candy store there, being able to enjoy all of those goodies.
Did you guys get any?
I got a couple of things, yeah. Some blister packs of just random...
No succubi, though. You already have all the succubi.
Yeah, I got a lot of abyssals.
Exactly. Did you get anything?
I was just there. The candy for me was looking at all the new rules and the new stats and the changes that was happening. I
Absolutely.
Was poring over that.
Well, let's put a little context on this. Matthew, your Forces of the Abyss Army and Nate's Dwarf Army were selected to be a preview. And so what we did was Ronnie, which I still is questionable, he helped you, I'm air quoting there, Nate, with building an army for 1,500.
With the vibes.
The feel of the army.
That's right.
He made sure that it felt like a dwarf army, but obviously helped you build a 1,500 point list using the new army list, which we had those there last night. And Kyle Przelinsky helped Matt with building a list of 1,500 points. So just talk to me about building the army. We've seen the rules. What were your expectations into army construction going into the process for 4th edition?
So what I felt like is I've played other games where you have something like take an HQ, take some core units, and then you start unlocking stuff. And it felt like that. We were able to do it just basically with pen and paper without having any complications. It was quick. I could see some guys who walk up to a table with no idea what they're playing that day, being able to hash something out and get a game in straight away. I think that won't be a problem. But if you really want to super dig into it and get really crunchy, you can too.
I'm going to say I was a little bit surprised, actually. So I thought it would be a lot more complicated. I really did. But it was pretty simple. It's like, okay, well, I got to take a commander, I got to take a couple core, and now I got all these unlocks. Surprisingly easy, but at the same time, looking through all the commanders and all those different abilities, pretty sure not everything was on the list we were provided, but it's like, yeah, there's a lot of possibilities here, and I'm excited about that. I also think you're still able to build the list you want. You just can't, if you want to skew it, you can still skew it, but you can't skew it as bad as, my entire army is speed 8 or more. My entire army is fly. My entire army does, whatever. You're going to have to bring a few other things. So it's going to be a little more balanced, but I still think the skew is there. Figuring out how much you want now is going to be the thing on the list building.
Shooting has been a lot of a discussion here. And, we got to play a bit. We'll see how it comes out in the end. But I won Michigan GT last year with over 100 shots in a Dwarf Army list. And the way that Ronnie put it is that now shooting's more like spice. Shooting is like flavor. We'll see if people can figure out a shooting heavy army. I'm sure that elves will still be shooting people to death and walking around and doing it. But I think that idea of being able to have the core things that you want, and then you add your flavor and spice to make it unique is something they want to see.
In terms of the army list themselves, we'll start with Nate. What were some things in that list that you saw that you were shocked by? Because the big question everybody has is, yeah, I get how it builds it, but what's core? What's specialist? What's all that? What were some of the units you were like, That is very interesting.
Yeah, like making it so that off the bat, as a dwarf player, the infamous Iron Guard are not just core like they are now. So you can see the stuff which is designed to be an expert, a specialist, literally is now. Those are things that look like they are above and beyond, that they're really focused on something. You'll see that moved out of the rank and flank or file. And I ran a Horde of Ironclad, which is, the step down from Iron Guard. They're the normal dwarf as you'd imagine it, with a shield and just their sheer drunken fury that's propelling them forward. And they were still really good. So it wasn't a problem that they were a core unit. I didn't feel like they were the weak link in my army. It was good.
So I would say the big surprise, I guess you could say, there are two for the Abyssals, I would say. Abyssal Cav is a support unit, so it's not an unlocking core. So, you're not going to be able to take, two Abyssal Cav, and here we go. You're going to have to take some infantry of some sort. Lower Abyssal, Succubi, the like there. And then the other thing that was a bit surprising, and again, I'm not sure if this is whatever, but Abyssal Guard weren't in there. And
not a thing at all?
Not a thing at all.
Because they're just an upgraded version of Lower Abyssals, right?
Pretty much, yeah. And again, a little teaser, I guess. Well, maybe the next book, I was told, with a little wink. So
right. Because the first book is Halfling Salamanders, the New Army.
The New Army.
And Tri-Realms.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd heard from various people who were involved that if Mantic doesn't make the model for it, don't make a bunch of them. And I kind of get that now.
Yeah. I think the thing, watching you guys play, some of the things that came out of it that surprised me was the fact that you take core and then you have what's called auxiliary, which in case most of these are like troops of something. I think that's interesting because there has been a tendency of spamming, and that's not necessarily a bad problem for this, but people using thick chaff, which is, I'm going to assume salamanders, the ancients, troops, defense 6, they're going to be auxiliary, and you're going to have to buy core to get one.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can take a bunch of these guys without, to your point, Matt, earlier, spending some points.
Right.
Stat-wise, the thing that stood out to me, you had Iron Watch, right?
So
talk about that. Because when you told me what they were hit on, I was like, wait, what? So
I think it's fun. I know, especially understanding the design thing that they're going for. So I don't know if people will be like sighing with relief at this, but my big rifle blob that I would run, they now hit on 6s in shooting, but +1 for standing still. So that puts them back to where they were before. Reload was back on the sheet that I saw. So moving and shooting with rifles
is not a thing.
Yeah, I don't have Dwarven John Wick anymore or anything like that. That was the thing I would used to do, is that people wouldn't expect it, but I still think it was a lot of fun. It was cool because I want to talk more about the fact that we had a little bit of an audience there. I felt like we were doing a little mini Renfen there. And because it's like you were stealthy. It's like I'm back on 6s, even though I got +1 for standing still. But when those 6s popped up on the table, people were like, oh, like it makes a whole dice space feel like it means something when everything isn't always 3s or something.
Yeah. How about you in terms of statistics? I know what I will say, and after you say it, then I'll say that's what I was thinking too. But you had some pretty interesting tweaks to some of the units.
So I would say the biggest one is the Abyssal Horse.
There you go.
So at the moment, 3rd edition, they are Crush 1, Thunder 1, which, again, very nice, very, fight through the chaff. What I was told and what I saw from the Abyssal Horse, they are Thunderous 3 now. So they hit like a ton of bricks on the charge. If you can get them in, assuming I don't flub every dice roll.
How many attacks did the regiment have as well?
18. So that stayed the same amount of attacks, but you get the extra Thunderous. So, in theory, really powerful on the charge. Now, once they get stuck in, it's going to be
disordered, lose all your Thunderous charge. It's not going to be mediocre. Were they still fearless or?
Everything's fearless.
Everything's fearless. You know what? Well, let me ask you this. Because everything's fearless, what did they do to that Abyssal Horseman to make them Are you still paying for what used to be Fearless, or is there something in the rules? Do they make their nerve value higher?
Nope, the nerve value is the same. Really, that's kind of the only change I saw with that particular unit. I mean, still, in my opinion, really good. The point cost, I think, is the exact same. Like, there's not a ton of changes on that particular unit. Actually, most of the Abyssal units' point cost was pretty close to where it is now. A few points here or there, but...
some changes to the Tortured Souls?
No, Tortured Souls...
Exactly the same number of
exactly
attacks?
the same. So I didn't get a good chance to read through all of the commanders and the warlords and all of that. I know there are changes there. Changes on the wording of the Well of Souls. Again, I didn't get.
I'm sure it's changed significantly.
Yeah.
And Well of Souls is a support piece?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. And what about, did you see Cronius on the list by any chance?
Yes, he is also support, I believe.
Okay. So it's going to be very difficult to maybe get 4 of those in.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Because you're going to be paying a lot.
Yeah.
Because each support is what? You need to have 2 core? Or a core and a specialist per one?
I don't know if it's 2 or 4.
It could be 4.
Yeah.
So it's important, but definitely Ronnie was saying you're going to want them. Those support units are going to feel strong. They're going to matter.
Right.
I mostly was focused on bringing a lot of infantry, but he's like, yeah, you'll want to have your cannon. You'll want to have your steel behemoth. You're going to want to have one of those around, making a difference.
How about the Brock Riders?
The Brock Riders, again, they also went up to Thunder 3. And little segue, terrain, which is something that I feel like my friends have been talking about a lot. It's interesting how it feels impactful here, because there's a lot of changes that mean a lot. Like, one thing that came up while we were fighting there is it sounds like, and this in a way I think is a pain point for a lot of people, if you have 2 units, one behind another, and they both can see their target, they can both charge in. So, but where we were fighting, there was blocking terrain that kept them from doing that. So that was very impactful with the way that that rule is available.
So it's sort of basically like, to sum it up, like there's almost like smart charges on each facing now. Whereas one unit will, if you have the space to fit 2, the other unit will move over and give the other unit the availability space.
Yeah, and I feel like top players will probably have to be very careful with terrain to try to maximize or minimize the effect of that, because that now could be a lot more pressure that never before.
Well, I think they had to do it. If you're only putting 2 in, then you have to make it more accessible for the 2 that you get in, right? So I think smart charges, and I also love smart charges when we had it just on the different flanks, right?
Yeah. I love, I can't wait to talk to new players, and they'll be like smart charging and stuff, and I can be like, back in the day.
Yeah, we had to, we could put 4 units in, right?
And we could put 4 units in, but none of them could because we're in each other's way.
Right, we had to, we had to walk the clearest path directly to the unit, right? We couldn't cross each other's
Uphill
path.
both ways.
Right. And then we had to share all this extra frontage. We had to figure it out. Now it's just simple.
And then you would charge in your Thunder 3 Cav, but then they touch some terrain.
Yep.
And what we were told.
Yes, hindered. Talk about that.
All right.
We're going back to 2nd edition.
Yep. If you are hindered, you lose all your thunder. So Cav going through the woods, not a good idea. Going over a fence, not good. So again, I find the Cav is back into a very interesting space. If it gets the clear shot, ooh, yeah, like it can be nasty. But if it gets disrupted in any way, it's really not effective. Honestly, in my opinion, like it should be. The idea of flying and Cav and all this stuff that is somehow just as good in the woods has never sat right with me.
And I think that Light Cav is going to hopefully see a resurgence with, you're like, oh, that sucks, but you want your good charge. But now there's Feint. And Feint...
And that's a action, right? So if you're engaged, right? So you want to talk through that?
Yeah, so a normal withdrawal, we were told, is that to get out of combat, nerve check, you turn around, you face the other way, and then you run 2d6. So that means...
That's Feint.
No, that's a regular...
That's a regular withdrawal.
Regular withdrawal.
So you're thinking withdrawal is terrible.
Yes,
and
but you have this other special rule that not everybody has, but very nimble, fly, fast units probably have it.
So this is where the Light Cav thing comes again, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, man, I could move up to 12 inches out of the way. Withdrawal might be good with a good roll, but also with Cav, if you have Feint, you can then reform, which means face any way you want. So you get out of combat, you turn around, you get your Thunder back for next turn. So you could be hitting real hard every other turn.
I think too, though, if you do that, and you're able, if you have some weaker unit and you got hit by cavalry, you survived, right? And you're engaged. On your turn, you feint over a wall, for example.
Yeah.
Turn around, and now they're coming into you with no thunder because they're going to be hindered.
And don't forget, though, smart chargers are smarter. So that means that you feint out your Cav, you put in there some chaff or some tanky unit, and your Cav can come back in next turn whether or not that chaff is in the way.
Exactly.
So there's the Cav just got more like Cav should be.
Yeah. On your end, what were some special rules or some things that came up?
Ensnare's still really good. In fact, I would say maybe even it got a stealth buff, I think is what they've been calling it, because if we're going to see less shooting and more combat, that really, we went how long before something died?
Because you're ensnare on the succubi.
Yeah. So
and the succubi are just defense 4, and they're nerfed.
Defense 3.
Defense 3.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Defense 3. So, but it's like, well, I hit on 3. Now you're hitting on 4. So the 20 attacks is now 10, and you got 2 1s. Okay, so it's 8. Well, I'm now a 17. So,
especially when your succubi brought their lashes and whips to bear on my Brox, and they lost their thunder. It's like, well, I am hitting on 5s, wounding you.
I think that's interesting though, because cavalry hits really hard,
very hard.
But you are a scalpel that has to. You can be a hammer, but you got to be careful because if you hit the woods or phalanx, it's gonna bounce. And you don't have the ability to protract the combat without disengaging. Because hitting with no thunder, no thunder, or no crushing no thunder is going to be interesting.
I actually gave up on a smart charge at one point because it would have meant that my Cav would have touched terrain, so that Thunder 3 would have gone to 0.
Yep.
Interesting. We did have some commands that came up. Maybe we'll talk about that. So basically the commands are they come with the specific characters, right? And if it's a warlord, you get to cast, basically there's a target value, and if you have a warlord, it's 3d6, and if you're just a champion, it's 2d6. But let's go through yours, because I thought yours was really interesting, because not only is the command interesting, but what you were actually able to do was like, wait, what?
So the thing that was partly fun about it is that, again, I love the Renfen, so I was hamming it up a little bit, because they're like, command, you get to do 2 dice to do it, but this warlord gets to roll 3, but nothing happens unless you roll a 4. And it's like, so I gotta roll that on this dice. These 3 dice are really key right now for what I want to do.
But you gotta get 1 4. Is that
get 1 4?
Okay,
we did.
So it's kind of like the mop-up launchers and some other effects where you roll a bunch of dice and need a success.
Yeah. And then I had everyone, I carried around the dice, had everyone breathe on it. We all wished for
That's right.
work, called the dogs. But anyway, rolled the dice and then did 2 different orders. One of them was Vengeance, or it had a different name, but it's the rule.
The one where you get crushing strength on the counter charge?
Not a counter charge.
Or I guess, what do they call it now?
I think it's like a disordered thing or something.
Yeah, I guess it's just an attack.
Yeah. But it plays like Vengeance does now for Dwarf Fleet players.
Right.
And I could see that, in a way, is going to be a hard thing to not take. And I was a little worried thinking about it because I play other games where you have a lot of orders and a lot of options. I think at least some of this stuff, you're probably going to build the army knowing you want to run this order. So you're not going to slow down your play a lot because you're like, I know that I'm going to roll this order. It's going to be quick, and then we'll move on with the game.
The orders come with specific characters, or the orders are just there and different characters can take hold?
Exactly, no.
Okay, so that's an ambiguous part.
I just know I kept on asking there, and they're like, I'm like, give me a cool order. And he's like, you can do this. And I'm like, all right, let's go. My shooting unit shot twice.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yep.
So Iron Watch, right?
So the way, it doesn't sound like I can bring the dog park that I do now, where I have every infantry unit is carrying the famous Mastiffs, the throwing dogs.
Oh, darn.
And the world rejoiced.
Yeah. And they nerfed it from 8 down to 6 dice.
Yeah.
And it's an order, so it won't always go off. But my Iron Watch first shot their guns, and then they threw dogs after that because the order did go off. So that was interesting.
So you still can't shoot in combat.
Not, in combat.
So you can't shoot in combat.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some cool stuff like that because there's a lot of interesting in combat shooting. Like, I assume Drain Life is the same. Mm-hmm. That is so impactful in the game now.
Yeah.
So I could see that expanded.
It's interesting, too, though. You had 2 shooting attacks, essentially. You have your Iron Watch can shoot, and then they were given additional dogs to unleash.
Yeah, that was, that's nice that I didn't have to read a block of text and try to find or only if not this, only if not that. Mm-hmm. It just worked.
Yeah. What did you do? Any commands?
I was told, and I quote, "Those filthy abyssals we don't need to worry about that right now." So I have no idea what the abyssals got.
Interesting. Well, to be fair, we should preface this by saying, I don't know if, and maybe you guys know this, I don't think any of the army lists in the main book are going to have commands.
So that wasn't, I don't know.
I don't know. Because I thought the commands were going to come with the enhanced lists as they come out supplementally. But you think you're thinking otherwise potentially?
Well, I mean, because dwarves aren't part of
the main book. Yeah,
the main.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't know that those commands.
I think what I remember. There's a lot of stuff last night. I think what I remember was they're all going to have some commands of some sort.
Yep.
And
that was the impression I got.
Yeah, and then when they refresh the books, you get more or new or whatever.
And
so everybody will have
to expand. That seems like something where you can drop a new command every now and then, and everyone can talk about it, and we can be like, how does this change the game?
It's an army special rule that you got to roll for too, though, which is good. It's not just built in. You gotta. And how many commands can you do a turn?
So it sounds, I think, one per leader.
One per leader.
Got it. Just like in champions.
Yeah, and they really wanted to make heroes more impactful. That was super clear.
Yeah.
And I also love the idea of like making it so that you're like, this is the army of Faber Ironheart. Mm-hmm. This is the army of Sevri or something like that. And that helps you make it your guys and make it right.
More narrative.
Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time on Countercharge. Please let us know what you thought of the show by emailing us at counterchargepodcast@gmail.com, on Twitter at countercharge15, or by commenting on the Countercharge Kings of War podcast Facebook group. If you enjoy the show, you can help others find out about it by leaving positive reviews on iTunes. Until next time, keep countercharging. Music is a composition of Kevin MacLeod and is licensed under Creative Commons.